Dear students, this is the e-learning platform of Cambridge International School, the SUA. I am Kamaljeet Sharma, PGT Accountancy, teaching accountancy to the students for grade 11th and 12th in Cambridge International School. And this session is for the subject of accountancy for grade 11th commerce. Let's recap. Students, as you know, we have started chapter number 8, that is journal, from your book Double Entry Bookkeeping by T.S. Garewal. In this chapter, you will have learned about the formation of journal entries. Today, we will learn about few more journal entries. I hope this session would help you to understand this chapter. Today, we will continue with our chapter number 8, that is journal. Before starting the journal entries, let us revise the rules to form a journal entry. All the traditional rules and modern rules which we have studied in the chapter number 6. These rules are very much important while formation of students. The accounts are classified on two bases, that is traditional approach and modern approach. We have learned about the traditional approach. Traditional approach is also called English approach, whereas modern approach is also called American approach. In traditional approach, there are broadly two types of account, personal account and impersonal account. Personal accounts are further classified into natural personal accounts, artificial personal accounts, and representative personal accounts. Whereas impersonal accounts are further classified into real accounts and nominal accounts. Personal account, as the name appears, related with person. So natural person's account, for example, Ram account, Sham account, Sita, Geeta, Ina, Meena, these all are natural personal accounts. Artificial personal accounts are those which are non-living beings, not living beings, but we have some names for the establishments. For example, ICICI Bank, Cambridge International School, say Gupta Cloth Emporium, say Pizza Hut, Domino's, all these establishments which carry a name but non-living beings. That's why they are called artificial personal accounts. Representative personal accounts are those which represents a group or an item. For example, outstanding expenses like salaries outstanding, prepaid expenses like prepaid insurance, accrued incomes like accrued commission or accrued interest, unearned incomes like advance commission. Whereas impersonal accounts which do not have any relation with any person, these are classified into real account. Real means actually. So all assets lies under the category of real account. Nominal accounts, as the name appears, nominal, which means it is nothing. But for our convenience, we have given them some names. For example, all the expenses, losses, incomes and gains lies under the category of nominal account. So for the purpose of balancing the accounts or preparation of accounts or for journal entries, all these we have used these traditional approach accounts in the form of personal, real or nominal account. Whereas in the modern approach, we'll be using types of accounts in the name of assets account, liability account, capital account, revenue account, or expenses account. We have categorized into these five accounts. Let us revise the traditional approach. The rule for personal account is debit the receiver and credit the giver. The rule for real account is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. And the rule for nominal account is debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Now we will start the modern approach. We have identified or categorized the total accounts in five categories: assets, liabilities, capital, revenue, and expenses. First of all, we have to identify the accounts involved in the transaction, whether it is asset or a liability or a capital or a revenue or expense. Let us discuss assets. Assets. If there is any increase in the asset of the organization given in that transaction, the increase in asset will be debited, whereas decrease in the assets will be credited. Now comes the liability. If the value of liabilities increases, it will be credited. And if the value of liabilities decreases, it will be debited. Now comes the capital. If the capital of the proprietor increases in the business, if the balance of the capital increases in the business, it must be credited. And if the capital decreases, it must be debited. Now comes the revenue. Now what is revenue? Revenue is the amount received from the sale of goods and services. So if there is any increase in revenue, it should be credited, or if there is decrease in the revenue, it should be debited. Now comes the expenses. Expenses are the amount spent to generate the revenue. So if there is any increase in the expenses of the organization, these expenses are debited. And if there is any decrease in the expenses, it should be credited. Students, now we will learn the formation of journal entries. There are three simple steps to be followed for recording a journal entry. The step one is simply identify the accounts involved in the transaction. Then the second step is judge the nature of accounts involved, whether it is a personal, a real, or a nominal account. The step 3, that is analyze the effect, then apply the rule and form a journal entry. Let us take an example. For example, cash received from Ram rupees 9,000. In this transaction, there are two accounts involved. One is cash, another is Ram. Cash, being an asset, comes under the category of real account. Ram is a natural person, comes under the category of personal account. Now, in the first step, we have identified the accounts involved. That is, cash and Ram are the two accounts involved in the transaction. After that, in the second step, we judge the nature of these accounts involved. The cash is an asset, so it comes under the category of real account, whereas Ram is a natural person, comes under the category of personal account. Now we'll move to step number 3. In the step number 3, we have to analyze the effect. So it is very much clear from the transaction that cash is coming into the business. So cash comes into the business, whereas Ram is the giver. Means Ram gives the money to the business. So after analyzing the effect, we have to apply the rule. So as per traditional approach, the rule for a real account is debit what comes in and credit what goes out. Here cash comes into the business, so cash must be debited. And as per the personal account rule, it is debit the receiver and credit the giver. So here Ram is giver to the business, so Ram must be credited. So we will check the first step and the last step, that is third step. So here cash is debited, Ram is credited. So follow these simple steps to form a journal entry. Now let us take one more example. The transaction number 11 is paid rent, wages rupees 100 and rupees 400 respectively. So rent is rupees 100, wages rupees 400, both are expenses nominal in nature, and the third account involved is cash. So entry would be rent account debit, wages account debit to cash account. Next is paid salaries to Rohan. Now, the name of Rohan is irrelevant while formation of a journal entry for this transaction. Salaries and cash are the two accounts involved. Salary nominal account, cash real account. The entry would be salaries account debit to cash account. Next is received commission. It means commission is an income. Income falls under the category of a nominal account. So here two accounts involved are cash and commission. The entry would be cash account debit to commission account. Transaction number 14 is sold goods to Bharat. So Bharat is the receiver here and sales are the revenue income, that is nominal. So Bharat account debit to sales account. In the entry number transaction number 15, Bharat returned defective goods worth rupees 2000. So it is sales return. Sales return account debit to Bharat account. Sales return and Bharat are the two accounts involved. Next is receive cash from Bharat 5900 and allowed discount 6000. Now see, in transaction number 14 we sold goods to Bharat worth rupees 8000. We sold goods worth rupees 8000 to Bharat. Out of this 8000 he returned goods worth rupees 2000. So out of 8000 he returned the goods worth rupees 2000. It means remaining left is 6000 rupees. Out of this 6000, in the transaction number 16 we received cash of rupees 5900 and allowed him discount 100. It means the account of Bharat is settled here. So cash in the transaction number 16, cash is involved, discount allowed is involved, and Bharat is involved. Cash account debit because cash comes into the business, debit what comes in. Discount allowed is an expense, debit all expenses. Discount allowed should be debited to Bharat account. Bharat is the giver. I repeat the journal entry: cash account debit, discount account debit to discount allowed account debit to Bharat account. Next is transaction number 17, paid insurance premium. Insurance premium is an expense, so insurance premium must be debited here. Insurance premium account debit to the other account is cash, so entry would be insurance premium account debit to cash account. Next is paid for life insurance premium of the owner of the business, Mr. Krishna. Krishna is the owner of the business. Owner of the business, whatever the amount of in cash or in kind withdrawn by the proprietor, by the owner of the business, is called drawings. So here we will not debit the life insurance premium, we will debit the drawings account. Drawings account is personal, so debit the receiver. So drawings account debit to cash account. We assume that owner has withdrawn rupees 1000 for his personal expenses. So entry for transaction number 18 is drawings account debit to cash account. Next is lent to Mohan. It means we have given a loan to Mohan. So entry would be loan to Mohan account debit to cash account. Next is sold goods to Mayank of the list price 30,000 at a trade discount of rupees 5%. So 30,000 into 5% is your this is 30,000 into 5% is 1500. So out of 30,000, 1500 we will deduct, and we will not record the trade discount in any journal entry. Trade discount will not be recorded in the journal. It will be recorded in the subsidiary books to be coming in the following chapters. Next is, so here Mayank account debit to sales account 28,500. Mayank and sales are involved here. Next, the transaction number 21 is Mayank returned of the goods of the list price rupees 5,000. So when Mayank returned the goods worth rupees 5,000, we will deduct the trade discount which we have allowed at the time of sale to Mayank. So 5,000 into 5%, that is 250 rupees. So we will deduct 250 rupees trade discount and record the entry with 4750. Entry would be sales return account debit to Mayank account. Next is received from Mayank 23,000 in full settlement. 23,000 in full settlement. Now see, we have bought goods, sold goods worth rupees 28,500. 28,000 out of 28,500 we will deduct 4750, which is sales return. The remaining left is 23,450. Out of 23,450 we have received 23,000 in cash. It means indirectly we have allowed a 450 rupees discount to Mayank. So here Mayank is involved, discount allowed is involved, and cash is involved. The entry would be cash account debit 23,000, discount allowed account debit 450, to Mayank account 23,450 rupees. Next is purchased goods from Rakesh of the list price 8,000 at 20% trade discount. 8,000, 20% of 8,000 is 1,600. So we will deduct 1,600 from 8,000 and record the transaction with 6,400. So purchases account, and Rakesh is involved here. Purchases account debited to Rakesh account 6,400. Then return goods to Rakesh of the list price. Again we will deduct 20% trade discount from this list price. So 2,000 into 20% is 400. The amount is comes to 1,600. So goods worth rupees 1,600 returned to Rakesh. So Rakesh account debit to purchase return here 1,600. Now we have purchased in the transaction number 23. We have purchased goods worth rupees 8,000 list price minus 20% trade discount comes to 64. Out of the 64 we have returned goods worth rupees 1,600 after deducting the trade discount. So 6,400 minus 60 minus 1,600 comes to 4,800. 4,800 in the transaction number 25 we will settle the account of Rakesh by cash under a discount of 5%. So we will calculate 4,800 into 5%, that is 240. 240 will be the discount received. So here entry would be Rakesh cash and discount received. Rakesh account debit 4,800 to cash 4,760 to discount received 240 rupees. So this is the settlement of Rakesh account. Next is bought typewriter of 1,200 for domestic use. Anything which is personal use, domestic use, we will consider the drawings. So here we will not write the typewriter, we will write the drawings account debit. So drawings account debit to cash account. Next transaction is 27, bought goods from Anand. Goods worth rupees 40,000 were purchased at a trade discount of rupees 20%. So 20% of 40,000 is 8,000. It means the goods, the transaction is with the value of 32,000, and we have paid only 50% cash immediately. So 32,000 into 50% comes to 16,000. It means 16,000 goods were purchased on credit and 16,000 were on cash basis. So, and there is a discount of cash discount of 4%. Cash discount will always be calculated on the cash transaction. So here the amount of cash transaction is 16,000. 16,000 into 4% is 640 rupees. So we will calculate the amount of discount like this. So here entry would be purchases. Here purchases is involved, Anand is involved, cash is involved, discount receive is involved. So purchases account debit 32,000 to Anand account 16,000 to cash account after deducting 640 from the 16,000, or to discount receive 640 rupees. Then the next transaction is sold goods to Divya rupees 10,000. So 10,000 is the amount of sales. So Divya account debit to sales account. And in the next transaction number 29, we have received 9,800 in full settlement. It means we have allowed her discount of rupees 200. So here entry would be Divya account debit to cash account debit, discount allowed account debit to Divya account 9,800, discount allowed 200 to Divya 10,000. The last end transaction is cash deposited into the bank rupees 6,000. Simply bank account debit to cash account. Only two accounts are involved here, bank account and this cash account. So bank account debit debit the receiver, bank account will be debited to credit what goes out, cash is going out of the business. Now these are the formal entries in proper format. The entry number for transaction number 11 is rent account debit, wages account debit to cash account. Rent account 100 rupees, wages account 400 rupees to cash account 500. Then salaries to cash 1200. Then cash to commission 500. And entry for transaction number 14 is Bharat to sales 8,000. Next, transaction number entry for transaction number 15 is sales return account debit to Bharat's account. Entry for transaction number 16 is cash account debit with 5,900 rupees, discount allowed is 100 rupees to Bharat account 6,000 rupees. Then the next is insurance premium to cash 400. Next is drawings account debit to cash 1,000 rupees. Then lent to Mohan, that is loan given to Mohan. So account would be opened loan to Mohan account to cash account 4,000. The next transaction is Mayank to sales 28,500 after deducting the trade discount. Next is sales return to Mayank 4750. Next is cash account debit, discount allowed account debit to Mayank account. Cash account debited with 23,000, discount allowed 450 to Mayank account 23450. Then the next transaction is purchases 23rd. Next entry for transaction number 23 is purchases to Rakesh 6,400 after trade discount. Next, Rakesh to purchase return 1,600. And the entry for transaction number 15 is Rakesh account debit to cash account to discount received account. Entry for transaction number 26 is drawings account debit to cash account 1,200. Next is purchases account debit with the full amount 32,000 to Anand. It is credit purchases 16,000 to cash 15,360 and to discount received 640. Next is Divya's account debit to sales account 10,000. Then next is we have received cash 9,800 in full settlement. So entry for transaction number 29 is cash account debit, discount allowed account debit to Divya's account. Cash account debit 9,800, discount allowed account debit 200 to Divya's account 10,000 rupees. Then the last entry for transaction number 30 is bank account debit to cash account 6,000 rupees. In this session, we have learned about few more journal entries using the traditional approach to rules of debit and credit. I hope this will help you to understand the concept of the topic more easily. Now students, try to understand the basic concepts of this chapter once again and try to solve some illustrations as well as unsolved questions from your book Double Entry Bookkeeping by T.S. Grewal. You can also try to solve some questions from NCERT, but all the questions to be done in your homework notebook. In the next session, we will continue our next topic. Till then, dear students, to stop the COVID-19, stay home. If you don't think about yourself, think about your loved ones. So stay home, please. But study regularly.